I did a good start and I managed to manage my tires. It was not easy at all, but yeah, at the end we came home first and some good points for the championship. Yeah, the track was getting very tough to drive, and yeah, but yeah, it was good. It was good at the end.
È riuscito a strappare la pole position per una manciata. Il numero 2 Logan Sergeant, pilota statunitense del Race GP, e a chiudere la terza fila un altro pilota del Joseph Cao.
Oh, dude.
I think I made a gap in the beginning to not destroy his tires, and then I had a free gap, could control my own pace, and then when he got closer, of course there was pressure on, but I tried to manage in the end, and he had a good run on the straight, one lap. Very under pressure in the first corner, as you can see in the lockup, but I managed to hold it, and it's mega. For the second weekend, have a win, it's amazing.
Steering an America's Cup boat is a lot like steering a racing car. This is the steering wheel from the boat. This is what we've been developing with the engineers at BMW. The big difference to what a conventional sailboat wheel has is obviously these twist grips. So a lot like a pilot adjusting his ailerons all the time. For us, the way we keep the boat flying and above the water is constant adjustment.
We're very happy with this wheel. We've been using the BMW steering wheel in training, and the twist grip technology it develops for us has been extremely important. With the accuracy of the twist grip, we use the foils less, and that means our grinders don't have to work as hard to produce that power, and that's translating into boat speed.
About a month ago we had a racing period here, which was really good to see how the helm used the wheel in anger. In the pre-start manoeuvres we studied how they were using the wheel, and we've made some changes in terms of moving locations of the twist grips and buttons, and we're going to see how that pans out in the next set of racing.
To me, this has been a huge step in my role. If it wasn't for integrating the twist grip, moving it forwards, we wouldn't be able to push the boat as hard as we did today.
Welcome to the season start of the GT Masters 2018. With a lineup of 36 cars, 8 manufacturers and 23 teams, the series enters its 12th season. In Oschersleben, the support programs ADAC Formula 4 and the ADAC TCR Germany will also be staging their first races. But especially in GT Masters, there's new cars and drivers.
2 neue Marken, Ferrari dürfen wir wieder begrüßen.
2 new brands, Ferrari is back, Honda is new. We have big names in the driver's squad, with high quality like Timo Scheider and Timo Bernhard, former champions of DTM and WEC. For Bernhard, it's a return to old times. I come from the old GT era. As a junior driver, I was 5 years firmly anchored with Porsche. I love that category and that kind of competition. Beside a Le Mans winner and a DTM champion, there's a lot of race action for the spectators. There are really interesting support programs like ADAC Formula 4, the ADAC TCR Germany, and new for this year, Porsche Carrera Cup. Everything is prepared for a spectacular start of the Super Sports Car League, the ADAC GT Masters 2018. And on the grid ahead of the start of Race 1, 2 races for the ADAC GT Masters over the opening weekend here in Oschersleben. And weather conditions at the moment set reasonable as we take a look at some of those drivers that will be taking part. Going from P3, it's the BMW Team Schnitzer, combination of Michael Jensen and, of course, Timo Scheider. P2, the orange one by GRT Grasser team of Mirko Bortolotti and Andrea Caldarelli. But going from pole position, it will be the Phoenix Racing Audi R8 LMS driven by Max Hofer and Philipp Ellis. So the cars on their formation lap then ahead of the start of race 1 of this opening weekend. And a real drag race going into turn number 1. But turn number 1, the hotel turn here at Oschersleben, has been reconfigured. It's much faster and much more sweeping now, as you can see. Used to be that sort of right-angle left-hander as the cars make their way through turn 1, turn 2 and head towards turn number 3. So Max Hofer has converted that pole position into the race lead. He's being chased hard though by Mirko Bortolotti, and then there is a real battle going on for P6 and P7. Indy Doncia in the all-yellow Mercedes-Benz that you can see. A replay of the start now as they head towards this new reconfigured turn number 1, which in the past used to provide quite an overtaking opportunity, but its now new sweeping nature means that perhaps overtaking is going to be a little bit difficult there. Indy Doncia then on board with him as he continues to battle, and just look at the gap that these two are breaking away from the rest. We're on board with Mirko Bortolotti then, who is P2 and is chasing down the Audi of Max Hofer. And at the moment, he's unable to offer anything to him. Max Hofer got it well under control. Philipp Ellis will take over driving duties in the second part of the race. And there you can see the order then is Hofer from Bortolotti, and then it is Sheldon van der Linde, one part of the van der Linde combination in the car that is running in P3. So Sebastian Asch is standing by to take over then from Lucas Stolz. They drive that Mercedes-AMG GT3, which is currently in P6. And there we can see the car through being on board with Indy Doncia. Philipp Ellis, another driver ready to take over, but of course he will be taking over in that P1 position that Max Hofer has delivered thus far in the race. And despite all the pressure from the number 63 Lamborghini of Mirko Bortolotti, they both come in at the same time for the driver change. So Bortolotti then right on the back of the Audi as the car's reduced down to the pit lane speed limit. And we're going to split the screen so that you can see both drivers going through their driver change. This is absolutely critical. The P1 car to the top left-hand side of your screen and the P2 car bottom left-hand side. So Philipp Ellis then jumps into the Audi and Andrea Caldarelli jumps into the Lamborghini Huracan to take up the second part of this race. You can see that the first driver gets out and is really supportive to the second driver, making sure the belts and everything is done very, very safely and that the driver is comfortable. A supportive tap onto the crash helmet of Philipp Ellis from Max Hofer then. Just saying, come on, bring the win home, we can do this from P1. Now bear in mind that the Lamborghini is further back down the pit lane than the Audi, so this is going to be really, really interesting to watch as those drivers are both released. Sure enough, the Lamborghini is released first because it's further down the pit lane, but Philip Ellis does manage to get the car out in front of the Lamborghini, so the P1, P2 and P3 positions remain unaltered. Sheldon van der Linde brought the Audi in from P3 at the same time as the P1 and P2 drivers, and that's the van der Linde brother combination in the Audi that's running in P3, and it's Kelvin van der Linde then that takes up driving in the second part of this opening ADAC GT Masters race. On board with Andrea Caldarelli then, who is chasing down Philip Ellis ahead of him, and also trying to get on terms with that battle for P1 as Caldarelli takes a look at the inside. This is through turn 3, but nothing doing as the door is closed by Philip Ellis. As I said, Kelvin van der Linde is trying to buy into this battle as well. We've got, as you can see, about a quarter of the race left to run. So being led by Philip Ellis, Andrea Caldarelli, and here then is Luca Ludwig, who we're on board with now. The HB Racing Ferrari 488 makes contact with the number 24 Audi R8 LMS, which is driven by Mike David Ortmann and Marcus Winkelhock. So the pressure is relentless from Andrea Caldarelli on Philip Ellis ahead, but Philip Ellis is not making any mistakes at all. He's just nailing every turn perfectly, and it's a very difficult circuit on which to overtake without having provoked a mistake from the car in front, and both Philip Ellis and Max Hofer ahead of him have not made any mistakes. And as Ernst Moser, the head of the Phoenix Racing team, along with Max Hofer, look on because the first victory goes their way. Philip Ellis brings the car home in P1. P2 goes the way of the Lamborghini Huracan. However, the joy in P2 is short-lived because they were excluded. In fact, all the Lamborghinis were excluded from the race after a telemetry system was found in all 3 Lamborghini cars that is not allowed under the sporting regulations.